Is this movie one of the best films in the Shrek franchise? Let's go ahead and find out. So this movie brings back Antonio Banderas as Puss in Boots in a brand new adventure following the kitty that we fell in love with since Shrek 2. In this new adventure, he wastes 8 of his lives and now is securing his one and only life that he has left. However, after he discovers that there is a wishing star, he makes it his moral mission to not only secure his one life, but also try to make it to this wishing star so he is able to get 8 of his lives back. Now, this movie was not really one on my most anticipated films of the year, mostly because I've never actually seen the first one, so I'm going into this film not having prior knowledge of the first film. But I know how a lot of people found that movie a little bit more charming than it had any right to be, and that is exactly how I feel about Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. This movie was a little bit more charming than I actually thought it was going to be, and from the trailers it didn't really look like anything special. From the first couple of minutes in this film, I was actually charmed by this movie. What they do with the animation style in this film is similar to what we've seen with Mitchell's vs. the Machine and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and so they got a new look in the animation style, and I think it actually worked for this film. There were a couple of moments in this film that I thought was lacking and didn't really have the emotional impact that I wanted this film to have, but by the end of the film, I actually came out with a big smile on my face, mostly because we actually had some great characters in this film, a couple of characters that we could have used without, but by the end of the film, I actually really enjoy this film. Salma Hayek comes back as Kitty Southpaw, and the dynamic between her and Puss in this movie is actually fun, and I wanted a little bit more of that. She doesn't come in until the second act of the film, but when she is on screen, she is a lot of fun. She is funny, she is charming, she is witty, and who doesn't love Salma Hayek? You also have Goldilocks and the Three Bears, and you have Jack Horner, and you have a new character played by Gizmo from What We Do in the Shadow named Perro. He doesn't really have a name per se, mostly because he is a foster dog. And this dog was one of the cutest characters in the film. He was just so funny, so charming. He doesn't have a lot of worries in the world. He just wants to be part of a family, have friends. And the way that they used his character in this film was actually a lot of fun. And when you first see him, he is actually disguised as a cat, so he's able to blend into this new house that Puss gets thrown into, because he is not supposed to be out having his misadventures. Once he finds out that he is just down to his last life, he has to do everything that he can to protect that last life so he doesn't have to face death. And I thought that was a very nice little take on this character, mostly because with cats having 9 lives and him just basically burned through all 8 of them, living his life, being the most adventurous, being known as the legend Puss in Boots. When they have him in this little house, it shows that he is not really a typical cat. He is not really known for doing his business in the kitty litter or eating cat food, so that was a little different foresight to see. We don't get a lot of that in this film, thank God, but it was fun while it lasted. Goldilocks and the Three Bears in this movie was a little bit more charming than it may look on the surface, mostly because you have this character that we always know. And the interactions between her and the Three Bears was actually pretty charming, and I got invested in those characters as well. I didn't know that Florence Pugh voiced Goldilocks. I knew that she was in the movie. Actually forgot that she was actually in the movie. When she is on screen, Goldilocks has a couple of different type of dimensions to her in this movie, and that is really surprising to see, mostly because we already know the story about her going into the Three Bears house and eating all their porridge, sleeping on their beds, and having them make her as part of their own. And there was something really nice and sweet about that really nice relationship. Jack Horner in this film didn't really do much for me in this film. He's played by John Mulaney, and it took me a while to really recognize his voice in this film. Even though he is the bad guy in this film, he really doesn't have a lot to do. His moral mission as to why he wants to get to the wishing star doesn't really have a big effect on this film. It just makes him as a typical bad guy. The standout of the film is actually Pedro, played by Harvey, because he brought a lot of the heart in this movie, and that was a funny and charismatic character that follows Puss and Kitties around, and just what he is trying to do is pretty much the heart of this movie. Some of the humor in this film is hit and miss. When it hits, it hits. Other times, it just feels like it was just lazily slopped in. But I actually had a lot of fun with this movie because it was just a charming movie that seems like it's going to be coming out at the perfect time, which is next month during Christmas. This movie was just a lot more charming than it had any right to be. Is it one of the best films in the Shrek franchise? Absolutely not. But this movie actually had things going for it that I actually came out enjoying a lot more than probably a lot of people will come out enjoying. This movie had a lot of heart, and that is what I enjoyed about this movie. It was just really nice seeing this movie, and I just thought it was a crowd pleaser of the movie. There were some slow parts here and there, but other than that, from the animation style to the characters, I thought everything about this movie was pretty much charming and fun and sweet. Overall, I'm going to recommend you guys check this film out. It's not one that you actually have to rush out and see during Christmas, but it is a Christmas type of movie that you actually do want to go out to check out with the family. I really had a lot of fun with this movie, and it was a lot more surprising than I actually thought it was going to be. But those are my thoughts on Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Do you guys have any interest in this movie? Did you guys check out the advanced screening for this movie? If you did, go ahead and drop those thoughts in the comments below. If you like this a lot more than the first one, or if this is your favorite in the Shrek franchise, go ahead and drop those thoughts in the comments below. And if you like this video, go ahead and click that like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on more videos. Click that bell notification so you get notified every single time that a video pops up. And I'll catch you guys on the flip side.